Hello, hello. Grown black folks talk. Mess around and find out. Tucker Carlson and Don Lemon edition. So today, as I was leaving my home to get my walk done today, I found out that Tucker Carlson had been removed from Fox, had parted ways. When I got back, I found out that CNN had released Don Lemon. I'm like, okay, two major news networks, and the viewers of each cannot stand each other on the same day, almost at the same time, released two of their most controversial figures. Well, both have done some very, very inadvisable things, but there's probably some purchase we can get from examining this. I'm not unhappy about the removal of either one of them. Now, to be fair, I do not have cable. I do not watch Fox, nor do I watch CNN. They are simply not a part of my life, but everybody knows about Tucker Carlson's lying. And what got him removed, apparently, we don't know this for certain, but Fox and Dominion just settled their case out of court. I mean, Fox literally got up to going to court with that and then settled with Dominion. And we knew that there were $787 million to settle that. And there were some other undisclosed things that had to happen. Well, since Mr. Carlson was up there saying things that we never did go to, never did go to court, but that there was enough there to be worth a little bit more than three-quarters of $1 billion. So I'm sure Fox has to look around and clean up and realize that certain people had to go. And one of those people was Tucker Carlson. However, not Lennon, Lemon was removed on some things that are much less serious than that. He decided to go into his best manosphere life and talk to two of his female co-hosts about how women are not in their prime in their 40s and their 50s live on air with those co-hosts who are still there today. And then attack Nikki Haley and have a big fight with um, a Republican supporter. And those two things, that was February. So whereas it took 7 years and a big, big movement of very powerful people, Don Lemon basically got, three women and a man was enough to get him thrown from his position. Now, mess around and find out. It happens to everybody. You're going to get up and act a fool. You're going to end up on your tail. You're going to end up separated from. You're going to end up upset. You're going to end up in the unemployment line. You're going to end up shut out. But the difference is you have to look at the fact that Black people have no safety net. I marvel that Don Lemon did not take a few notes from what happened to TJ Holmes, what happened to Ime Udoka, and of course, what is still happening to Jonathan Majors. It appears that the woman who accused him of assaulting her, there seems to be evidence that she didn't do it, but the endorsements and his PR team and all these people having gone away, he has a real uphill battle. But you have to understand there is no safety net. Um, if we put this in cultural terms, your face is not high enough. It takes about $750 million to people a million, well, three-quarters of a billion, 700 plus million to be able to move a Tucker Carlson. It takes you talking greasy to two women and then talking greasy about one more woman and then talking greasy to one Asian man about it. So two white women and an Asian woman, an Asian man, and you're out. 17 years. Don Lemon gone. And see, this is the other thing about it. One of the things that Black people need not lower themselves to do is daydream about being white. I said that the way I meant to say it. If out of one side of your mouth you're going to talk about how racism this, racism that, racism this, racism that, then you ought not to expect to ever be able to go act a fool like they act a fool and get away with it. It doesn't make any sense. And the people that talk the loudest about the racism then want to go act a fool too. And that would be the a great number of Black men get into these positions and forget something. No, you daydreamed about it, but look, there are too many people there that are going to let you know real quick. They're just waiting for a moment to take from you everything you have and throw you out. Tucker Carlson, it takes three-quarters of $1 billion to get him moved. He told lie after lie after lie, or at least that's alleged, because they never went to court and it never had to be proven. So allegedly, lie after lie after lie out of a very, very powerful people. It still took 7 years for that to catch up to him. It took Don Lemon 4 months. But this is also what happens when you just don't have the asset base. And ladies, don't gloat because black women are going to be in this position in 10 years if we're not careful. You have to look at what your asset base is. We do not need to lower ourselves to ever think that we will be able to act a fool to the level that other people can act a fool. We did not found this country to be able to do that. Now, we did the foundational work, but we don't make the rules here. This is not an African American run country. So if you're gonna get out there and act fool, you just gonna come down faster. And see, this is why life is gonna be so hard for these black men who are out there talking about doing a crime 4 times the size of the Holocaust to black women. Because see, more powerful men have decided to extend black women protection economically. Hello, Goldman Sachs. Hello, Grameen. And by the way, this is not just a question about black women. Anybody who does microloans in the world, and Grameen comes to mind, has discovered something. There's a few other names I can think of as well. If you want a particular community to improve, give the money to the women. You will make a wonderful return on investment and you will see that community improve. Because around the world, men in poor economic situations will not take money from another man and improve his own community. The only way men do that is if they have the gumption and the courage to get up and earn it themselves. If you give them money or loan them money, they will trick it off, trying to buy the tokens of what they feel they deserve, even though they are not succeeding in the economy to do those things. So it's not just because, you know, men don't want black, white and Jewish men don't want black men to compete. No, it just has to do with global data. If you give men who are in a depressed economic situation some money, they're going to go do coping things. If you give the money to the women will use it to build up the community. There is all kinds of global data about this. So Goldman Sachs and Grameen here in the United States know exactly what they're doing. Governments that are investing money in black women and children know exactly what they're doing. They're going to receive a return on investment. They also understand something else. All properly operating men do. Back to when God did not allow Adam to fill the earth and subdue it and did not give him the charge then, but created Eve first and gave them the charge. If you want whatever you have to multiply, you have to have the right woman. A properly operating woman will multiply whatever you give her and hand it back, and there'll be more of it. So if you are an investor, it is a wiser decision many times in situations of crisis to invest in the women. Even God knows this. And by the way, for you gentlemen that want to talk about the fall, go back and read Genesis 3:15 again. God said that when I send the Messiah, he will be the seed of the woman. Then go do your Christmas story and come out about the virgin birth. And remember, Joseph is not Jesus' father. There was no man involved. So even when God was ready to send salvation, he invested in a woman. He put his own son in the care of a woman. Now, we're not going to take Joseph's honor away from him. He is the world's greatest stepfather. He is the man who was in a situation that most manosphere men would call a simp. He knew that child was not his. He was getting ready to put her away, but he just happened to listen to the Holy Spirit. See, he was submitted to God and did what God told him to do and has the honor of the person who does all the amazing daring do. I mean, Joseph was figuring out international affairs to be able to protect that family. All that time in 2 different countries and 2 different regions inside his home country, he had to get around Caesar Augustus' foolishness. Joseph made things happen. So we're not taking his honor from him. This is not to say that God does not invest in men. In fact, most of the Bible shows that he did. But the point is, when the chips are really down, when the Lord had to have some people that believed that he had been resurrected, the women were there first. It is what it is. And proper men understand this. And so if you happen to find yourself in a situation where you have representatives who are out here acting straight fool, and you are the man with the least capital, and then you gonna tell the women that you want to eliminate them? You have representatives doing that, and you are not screaming bloody murder. See, what's gonna happen is, again, mess around and find out. Now, look, it happens to everybody. Donald Trump is in the first beginning of his mess around and find out stage. He was rolling hard in 2016 too. That man's about to get clapped up in ways that people don't believe can happen. A whole bunch of people around that about to get clapped up in ways nobody can believe. But it takes a long time. You figure you gotta sit back and you think about it and you think, how in the world? Because here's the deal. When white men build a system, they tend to build themselves a lot of escape ramps, but not forever. Because God is still in his heaven. Nobody gets away with it forever. Black men try to act like white men and go on those same escape maps and get clapped up faster because they do not own and control as a mass enough and will not ever be allowed to in this system. Like I said, Don Lemon is in the unemployment line with Tucker Carlson because he messed with three women and a man. So most of the black men in the manosphere type, most of the men that filled his little head with all that stuff about women being past their prime, it's just like, sir, let me tell you what you're not gonna do. White men and Asian men are not gonna let you boss up on their women. It's just not gonna happen. Your position is fifth. White men, Asian men, and they're competing in the world for the top spot right now. Latino men, even Native American men have some casinos that they own, making good money. And then you. That's your caste position. There are four layers of people that are not going to let you jump up there. Now, because black men and black people are so talented and have so much innate genius, if we would focus on building, we could unlock the genius. Attorney Dennis Sperling is proposes that black men could at least be second. I don't have an argument with that assessment. It could happen. But you gonna get clapped up in prison talk about the Holocaust. ADL already got back to me, Anti-Defamation League, because Adagon Forrest had the temerity to also suggest that what was done to the Jews should be done again, also about some government officials. So he had the temerity to suggest that. So the FBI and the ADL are monitoring all these situations. They actually got back to me to let me know. We're gonna get into it, see what you set yourself up for. Uh, See, the thing about it is, stay in school, folks. Go back and look at what happened to Germany. We're gonna do that video, but I'm just scaffolding it. I'm just scaffolding it as events occur. I'm just sprinkling it in. I'm just sprinkling it in because you need to understand. Mess around and find out is for everybody. Tucker Carlson was rolling hard to the beginning of this year. Rolling hard. Donald Trump was rolling hard, getting ready to plan his next presidential run. And see, Joe Biden is back there just kind of playing it cool. He's kind of not announcing. He's just letting situations develop. And by the time everybody get clapped up, he wants clapped up, then he's gonna just, if he stays healthy, he's gonna tip on in. That's what he's planning to do, y'all. Because he's letting other people mess around, act a fool, find out. And then there's Don Lemon who gets clapped up in months, not years, months. Do you all know that Kevin Samuels' run was only 2 years? Not even quite 2 years. Had there never been a pandemic, he might not have had a run. You just don't get the time coming from a position that is bottom of the caste system here. And again, black women, don't start celebrating. You are in the exact same caste position as your brothers are. It's just that because of the nature of who we are as women, we're going to try to keep things going. We're the ones who are going to try to take care of each other, the children, even the men in situations, and everybody knows that and is willing to invest because it's profitable for them to do so. But if we get enough out of pocket, we're going to slap down too. You have to remember where you are. Now, if you're truly tired of it, then you need to go listen to Stephanie Perry, Adelia Borshade, and Rashida Dow, and maybe pick up on some Alicia Renese, the artist. You might also want to pick up some True Mystique, who's sitting up there talking about how you get to the not the consumer but the creator side of AI. Putting prompts, you put prompts on prompt base to help people ask better questions. The door's open right now for that. You might want to get up on some things that will allow you to get to the production side of the new economy, including AI. You might want to do that and not let yourself, because see, when I get ready to talk about the Hitlerian two gentlemen, I'm gonna have to also throw in a black woman who also has suggested the genocide of all black men. And I have waited 10 months because I have waited for there I've waited for one person whom I care about to kind of figure out where they need to stand on this issue. It's just like you have to be careful who you pal around with because eventually that reputation is gonna fall back on you. But I want to give people time to kind of sort themselves out. I'm not someone who causes trouble just to be causing it, but it's just that I'm not going to address Hitlerian behavior on one side and not address it on another side. No, we're going to have to clean up the whole thing because if Tucker Carlson can come down and Don Lemon can come down and they're in much higher positions than you or me, what you about to do when you get caught up on this stuff? You about to mess around and find out. I would suggest those of you who are listening to me, you in the United States of America, we got to have fisticuffs to seat a Senate to seat a Speaker of the House. You're in the United States of America where you have a JAG, a Judge Advocate General, retired Army Colonel, sitting up here telling men 6, 7 years older than himself that he's supposed to just break some windows and punch a cop on his way to be arrested. You have a sitting senator telling a former president. You have the BRICS nations out there looking at you like, oh no, y'all going crazy. It may take us 5 years, it may take us 10 years, it may take us 20 years, it may take us 30 years, but we have made up our mind. We're gonna have to drain your dollar in. We're gonna have to kick y'all on the dollar, which means that if you have children and you are not getting your life together, you are going to release them into a less prosperous United States from here, pretty much no matter what happens. If you are like me, 42, or anywhere in over 30, you need to worry about, instead of worrying about what everybody else is doing and getting up here and acting fool, you need to figure out where you're going to be between 60 and 70. And do you have resources? Do you understand passive income? Do you understand investment? And by the way, Tucker Carlson and Don Lemon in particular did not realize this was coming. Maybe Tucker Carlson knew. Don Lemon didn't. When you are just an employee, everything you have can be snatched away from you. So you really need to get up from behind the foolery. I've been saying this, I've been saying this, I've been saying it, I've been saying it. I really would like to stop saying it, but I also realize people still need the warning. I do videos about healing and about growth, and I look at my analytics and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this video anyway because it's for those who are for. As the Lord Jesus said, many are called, few are chosen. It is what it is. But because of this occasion, for those of you that watch a lot more television than I do, everybody knows a little bit about Fox, and probably quite a few people know about Don Lemon. If they can get their career snatched in a heartbeat, what are we doing out here? If all you have is a job, if you don't know anything else, I've taught you how to get crypto sweat equity. It's a bear market right now. It will not be a full bull for another year, at least, maybe 2025. I've given you the tools necessary to get your place in that. Like I said, no matter what happens, the next 5 to 30 years is gonna be rough in the United States. It's not cute, it's not fun. It's not gonna be fun for a lot of people. But you have right now. So I don't want you to be on the mess around and find out brigade. I want you to know that if you are an African American, you're at the bottom of the caste system, meaning that you need to take all your time to make successful moves. You do not have the luxury to pretend to be somebody that you are not. This is why Don Lemon doesn't have a job. This is why TJ Holmes doesn't have a job. This is why Ime Udoka doesn't have a job. It's also why Amorosa Monagal didn't have a job for a minute there. I, as the Bible says, would not have you to be ignorant. I would not have you to be dancing in the street over the fall of other people without understanding. Warning, as the Lord Jesus once said to his disciples, you think the people over there that got what they got are worse sinners than you are? No, no, no. Let me help you understand. Unless you repent, you shall all likewise perish. That's in around the Luke 10s or so. I remember having read that for the first time, like, and I whoop, whoop, because it's so easy for us to fall into rejoicing over the fall of other people and to not realize, do y'all know that y'all may be on slick, shaky ground too? I'm contemplating a video to do with y'all about a black hole. I have a black woman content creator who is a magnificent artist, and I did this for Peak D, and I'm giving some thought to doing this presentation because I don't think people understand how we get down into these positions we can't get out of. But then again, if you've been listening to my content, I've already lit up how you get away from some of these things. My heart goes out to average, everyday people in the United States who are doing the best they can, black men and black women. There are still plenty of us trying to do the right thing and make it out here. But we're gonna have to figure out how to where we stand and stand up. The time for acting a fool is over. It has been for a while. If Donald Trump and Tucker Carlson can't get away with it, in a system that men like them built, what is your black self about to be doing? I need y'all to think about this. Like for real. I need y'all to think about this, and I need you to make good decisions. And when I say I need you to make good decisions, I don't actually need you to make good decisions. I've done my work. My family's done their work. We're going to be all right. But on a human level, I don't want to see unnecessary suffering. My neighborhood was gentrified out of existence because there was no one who had any vision of how it could be stopped. But families who got their lives together, we're still here. And again, I get to climb my favorite hill quite often. Doesn't look quite like that, but that's a reasonable representation. No water, of course. I made myself a lakeside too because I like the water as well. But the point is, I have the peace and prosperity in my life so that I can do this. This is the version of the Winter Mountain. I did a Winter Mountain too. Y'all remember the Winter Mountain? Same thing. Let's see. This is the Winter Mountain. It's on the same model. So you figure we're going to leave the winter alone, though. Winter's over. This is the Winter Mountain. This is the Spring Mountain, which is on the same model as the Winter Mountain. I have the luxury to be able to do these things because of the work that is being done and has been done around me. So I want you to look into investing in your gifts, investing in, well, first, invest in your healing, invest in your gifts, invest in the opportunities that are coming your way. I want you to back up from the foolishness because, again, time for that's really up. And it doesn't take much done consistently to begin to see results. For real, y'all. Don't take the fall of Tucker Carlson and Don Lemon as nah, 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 nah. Don't do that. We are grown. This is grown black folks talk. Remember? It's a lesson. The time for acting a fool is over. Mess around and find out is in full effect. You do not have to be the victim of it. But of course, that's entirely up to you. Thank you for listening, and goodbye.